0909 8919 444. Jestone Education, actualizing career dream.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, good afternoon. Please, I want to confirm if you all can hear me. I just want to have a few reactions in the chat box. You can just, drop any emoji just so I can be sure that you all can hear me. Thank you very much, Henrietta. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're welcome. I'd like to welcome everyone to this special webinar with Jestone Education. My name is Tosin from Jestone Education, and I'm here with my colleague Benaya. We are going to be anchoring the session together. And I also have Henrietta Lightwood, the Global Director at Cardiff Sixth Form College, on the call. And we are very delighted to have all of you join us today for this webinar. Before I begin, I'd just like to tell you a bit about Jestone Education. We're a career consulting firm, and we help students to actualize their global career dreams. We have direct partnership with over 300 institutions across 30 plus destinations in the UK, in Canada, Ireland, US, Hungary, and many other European countries. And we have actually successfully placed over 10,000 students across these destinations. So we're going to be handling your admission processing, your study visa, and all assistance you need to settle in the UK, and even for your post-study support as well. So today we are going to be focusing on Cardiff Sixth Form College in Wales and also St Andrews College in Cambridge, all in the UK. And Henrietta here is going to be putting us through everything we need to know, from the application requirements, the options available, and the key deadlines that we need to note as well. And because of the presentation, if you do have any question, please be free to type it in the chat box. We are going to be giving you room to ask your questions. If you also want to ask it directly to her, you can also raise up your hands, and we're going to give it the opportunity to speak. All right, Henrietta, thank you so much for joining us today. Are you ready to begin?
Yes, absolutely, Tosin. Thank you very much, everybody, again for joining. That's really nice. Yes, my name is Henrietta Lightwood. I'm the Global Director at actually a company called Duke's Education, which is the largest education company in Europe. And two of our schools are what we're going to talk about today: Cardiff Sixth Form College and also St Andrews College in Cambridge. And they're both really kind of offer slightly different things really for students who are hoping to come and study in the UK and then really go on to some very top universities. Actually, interestingly, it's not even just in the UK. Quite a few of our students will go on and study in places like the US, for instance, Canada, Australia, just depending, even Asian countries. So we're getting kind of more and more variety, I suppose, in terms of undergraduate programs that people are going on to. But there's two very definite pathways, I think, for parents to consider when students are coming out of West Africa. So I'm just going to share my screen, and I'm going to talk first of all actually about St Andrews College in Cambridge. And I think there's a few people who might need to be let in, Tosin, into the just to let you know. That's just, if that makes sense. So just bear with me. I'm just going to share my screen a second. So I'm hoping everybody can see this. I think hopefully you can. So Duke's Education actually has 90 schools. Only 7 of them are boarding schools. And the two I'm going to speak to you today are great, but offer slightly different things. St Andrews College in Cambridge is a really beautiful school. And the key thing for it, I suppose, really, it looks a little bit like this. If you like, well, I'm just going to show you a picture of it as we go through. But of course, it's in the very beautiful city of Cambridge. So bear with me a second, my screen's just not moving forward. Yes, there it is. So that's a picture really of what the school looks like, and it's absolutely beautiful. It's got lovely kind of sports grounds behind, basketball kit pitch, the kind of, that kind of thing. And really, I suppose the key thing for St Andrews in many ways is that there's really two routes that it offers Nigerian students, either finishing IGCSE or finishing the WIAC. because coming out of the WAC, you really need some kind of bridging course to get into top universities. It's not quite a high enough level to go directly in for some of the top universities. So the first route that I think probably most people know about is A levels. A levels are really a qualification that is accepted all over the world. You've probably heard of A levels, you've probably heard of the IB. They're both kind of worldwide accepted qualifications, and they are really, really robust from an academic perspective. So whether or not you're staying in the UK, whether or not you're going to the US, for instance, to university, A levels are absolutely perfect, particularly if people are wanting, so people generally come at kind of anything between kind of 15 and 17 years, generally around 16 years, obviously. And people choose 3 or 4 subjects that they want to study to advanced level in preparation for university. So it's really ideal, I think, and I've tried to kind of get the difference, but ideal for people who are really aiming for those top courses. A levels really are only accepted for things like Oxford and Cambridge and medicine, really. So and actually I think they're a better preparation for things like law and architecture as well. But you can do foundation courses, but really A levels are better, particularly of course if people are wanting to go to very, very top universities. And just to give you some ideas, I mean, these are some of the results and progressions, for instance, from A levels, for instance, at St Andrews this year. So St Andrews is it really suits, I think, students who need to improve their grades. They work in small class sizes of kind of 7 or 8. They really coach the students through their different subjects and enable them to get into these very top universities, but basically by kind of coaching and helping them, about 81% go on to some of the top universities, really. And there's just some examples there this year of the kind of grades that people got. Even the top one there, which was pretty outstanding, 5 8 stars. They obviously did maths and further maths. Most people get 3 or 4, for A levels in total. There's another route, though, if you don't want to do A levels. A levels tend to be a 2-year course. The other route, of course, is University Foundation. And University Foundation is really generally either a 1-year or a 6-month course. Now, generally, most people from Nigeria quite rightly would do the 1-year course. The 6-month is very, very short. I wouldn't recommend it unless you absolutely have to. But the University Foundation course is really very good at St Andrews. It's actually the top foundation in the UK. And there's lots of reasons why I think it's particularly good. You can see the kinds of subjects that you can study here, whether it's science, whether it's business, whether it's engineering, international relations. But basically, students must be a minimum age of 16.5 years to start a university foundation. So if you are still 16, but not yet 16 and a half years, I would recommend you go the A-level route. And it's all to do with when basically you can go into university. But it's really, there's a very, very good, very good progression really on from the St Andrews Foundation. But just to give you an idea, we've compared it. So sometimes you have university foundations which are run with a particular university. They're on site with that particular university. They really only guarantee progression, and they don't guarantee progression, actually. They only offer progression to that particular university. Generally, the traditional university foundations have about a 65% success rate. Well, we thought at St Andrews we can do much better than that. We actually have a 100% success rate, and 71% of our students go on to the Russell Group of universities, which is the top universities. And the reason being is that we monitor the students, we look after them really, really well. We make sure they're doing their homework. We make sure they're going into class, that their teaching is, lots, basically full days. So we really teach people kind of, above a foundation level. So, and also we're really flexible. So if people want to also take an extended project qualification, they want to take a particular A level in a subject alongside their foundation, we can get them to do that. So it's a really good foundation, actually. I'm just going to give you again some kind of, some ideas there of results. But, as I said, 100% are offered places at UK universities. 71%, excluding art foundations, which actually don't always go to Russell Group universities, they go to art universities, but 71% go on to the Russell Group. So I really recommend it. If you're coming from West Africa, it's a really safe, secure place to be. The students are really well looked after. They're in really lovely boarding, like family style boarding houses with, really nice kind of boarding parents. You'll know exactly where your kids are, for instance. So I think it's a really worthwhile one looking at, and it's become more and more popular. So, looking at this again, 100% of Science Foundation students go on to Russell universities. That's the top 24 research-based universities in the UK. 78% of humanities, so that's your lawyers, for instance, your business students. 84% of computer science, and 80% of Russell Group for art foundation students, including University of the Arts London, which of course is the top place if you want to do an art foundation and go into something like architecture, fashion and design, fine art, design technology, those kinds of things. So, really, really excellent, place to be. And I'm just going to give you some examples of the kinds of universities that the foundation students have gone on to. Now, foundations are marked slightly differently to A levels, which are marked kind of A star through to E. Foundations are marked distinction with honours, which is like an A star, distinction an A, merit, which is a B, pass, which is a C, and after a C you actually fail. But ours don't fail because we make sure that they get there, which is great. But you can see some of these universities that they've gone on to this year and the kinds of courses that people have studied. And this is after a 1 year or a 6-month foundation. So, it really does mean that people have got a lot of, kind of good opportunities here. But as I said, you do have to be 16 and a half, and I don't recommend it for medicine, and you can't do it for Oxbridge. So obviously what we do again with the foundation, the same as with A levels at St Andrews, is we give people individual guidance as to the university that they want to study in. We narrow it down to the 5 choices. We look at them and work individually to see if there's any way that we can improve people's personal statement through pre-university courses or work experience or whatever it is. And we also have quite a lot of guidance from our Duke's Education partners, Oxbridge Educations, the Medic Portal, US Applications, the Law Portal, Invest in Work Experience. So we work very kind of closely together, and all of that, of course, is free for our students who are at St Andrews. The other thing we do at St Andrews is that all of our students have mentors from Cambridge University. So they also attend Cambridge University public lectures, for instance. They visit the Cambridge University departments. And, that is really, really helpful when you're trying to get students to top universities, because they can actually see what the possibilities are and they don't limit themselves, which does make quite a lot of difference. Pastorally, again, as I was saying before, we take it incredibly seriously, and the pastoral care at St Andrews is absolutely excellent, And of course, there's a wide range of things that most Nigerian students love: sport, music, swimming, debating, medics club, creative writing competitions, maths Olympiads, photography competitions, all that extracurricular stuff, which helps students be nice, well-rounded young people. And just to kind of, give you a quick idea of it, for instance, here's some kind of examples of different stuff that's been going on. And the top one there with the boy with the 2 fingers there, he's actually punting in Cambridge down the river, which is a really Cambridge thing to do. But whether you want Duke of Edinburgh scheme, for instance, whether you're a swimmer, a footballer, a volleyball, basketball, you want to go to the gym, you want to dance, whatever it is, at St Andrews, they will help you do that, which is great. In terms of boarding, just to give you an idea about what it looks like, for instance, they're very family style. This is one of our boarding houses here. You can have a choice of a single room or a double room, or if you want to really save money, you can homestay with a local family, and we provide you with a company that sorts out homestay and living with a local family, and it's a kind of much cheaper option. But most people like to board. Obviously, they're with other people the same age. It's very safe, it's very secure, and they're really nice bedrooms with common rooms and kitchens, all on site, if you like, which makes life much easier. So if we look at entrance requirements, for instance, if you're looking at A-level and foundation, and they also do GCSEs and pre-A-level, but less appropriate for this audience, you're really looking at a minimum English level of 5.5. Well, if there's any Nigerian students who have less than a 5.5, I will be very, very surprised, for instance. And we take a joint kind of English and maths test, which we're looking for at least 60% to make sure that we can get people through. If they're coming on a 6-month foundation, they need to be at least 17 because it's such a short kind of course. But there's also some scholarships if people want to apply for a scholarship, up to 20% on a foundation, up to 35% on an A-level course. For instance, you are very welcome to apply for those. You need to have good marks in your entrance tests, and you also have a scholarship interview with the principal, which if you like. And in terms of application, it's actually very easy. I mean, Jetstone will help you all the way through this, but we put everything online for all of our colleges, actually. But if you go to the website, there's a big button that says apply now, and you fill out a form, and you can send your school report, passport, and birth certificate either to me or to Tosin and the Jetstone team, for instance, and they will forward it on to me. You then pay a £420 non-refundable registration fee, and then people take their English and maths tests, which absolutely can be invigilated online. It's very easy, for instance, and have an interview. Now, the foundation students do need academic UKVI IELTS for visa purposes, so you can just book that in with the British Council, for instance, and they've got offices in both Lagos and Abuja and other cities in Nigeria, for instance. Then hopefully an offer will be made and students then accept and pay the deposit, if that makes sense. So just to give you an idea about fees, for instance, for a university foundation course, the cost of tuition is £10. I wish it was £10,950 per term, and there's 3 terms in a year. And for A-level, it's £13,200 per term. And then in terms of accommodation, it really depends on what people would like. If you'd like a very kind of fantastically superior single ensuite, you're looking at £9,315 a term, for instance. If you're happy to be in a kind of single room with shared shower or twin room, you're looking at £7,450. And to give you an idea of how much homestay would be, it's about and those costs are again, per term, to give you an idea, and there's 3 terms in a year. And homestay is £220 per week. There's about 41 weeks annually. It ends up being about £9,500 a year. So it's a much cheaper option. So if you don't, I'm going to stop sharing on St Andrews really, and just see if there's any questions on that before I then go on to Cardiff Sixth Form College. So I just wondered really, what people's thoughts are and if anyone has got any questions.
Thank you, Henrietta. No questions for now, but people are still listening in. They're still going to ask their question. But I just wanted to confirm the tuition discounts. Do you want to go over them again, and the deposit that they are going to be paying as well?
So the deposit is refundable at the end of the course. So the deposit is £2,500. And then the tuition fees, very quickly, I've just come out of the slide now, but I will share it afterwards, or they're all available on the website under St Andrews College, Cambridge admissions fees. But basically, A-level is about 39,000, to put it really quickly. A-level is about 39,000. University foundation is about 32,000, for instance, for a year. And then accommodation is about another 22,000 if you board. So if you looked at that in total, 39,000 plus 22,000, then it's just over 60,000, 61,000, I think, for A-level, and just under 60,000 for a foundation course, to give you some kind of idea quickly. And then basically you're very welcome to apply for a scholarship, and that's on the tuition element of the fees. Brilliant. Right, I'm going to move on to another of our colleges now. Both these colleges are quite popular in Nigeria, and for different reasons. So Cardiff Sixth Form College, which actually has 2 campuses, is the top school in the UK. So Cardiff has been top actually for 13 years. It's an extraordinary school. It really is incredible. So this year, 94% of students got all A star and A grades. If you look at that compared to the number 2 school, which this year was Westminster, which got 87, they were 7% above in terms of academic results. It probably has placed, and I can't prove this actually, but I'm pretty sure, 99% sure, Cardiff is probably now actually the top school in the world. So for academic results. And why is that important? Well, of course, it's important because it makes a difference as to which university your children go on to, whether it's Oxbridge, whether it's Ivy League. It makes a difference in terms of the internships they get afterwards, and it makes a difference, of course, in terms of the type of jobs they go on into the future. So it is absolutely the best school I have ever worked in, honestly, and I've been working in education for 24 years. I have loved working at Cardiff. It has been vibrant, interesting. The kids are very exciting, really amazing school. So if you look at the results, so I'm just going to give you an example so you can just see how very consistent this is. So if you look at the A star to A grades, which is normally how the schools are ranked, you're in really the 90s for the past 10 years, if you like. They were slightly inflated in 2021 and 2020 because of the COVID years, and they were then teacher assessed rather than exam board assessed. But basically, A star to A is kind of, early mid 90s. A star to B has been late 90s, 100% over the last 10 years. That's outstanding. There is not anyone else who can touch the results. And I'll explain why that is. But, 100% go to university, 81% go to the top universities in the world. And that includes Stanford, MIT, it includes Harvard, it includes, where else? Columbia, it includes Oxford, it includes Cambridge, it includes Imperial College, London School of Economics, University College London, the G5 universities. So, and here's some results again for this year. For instance, 14 to Imperial College, 8 to Oxbridge, 25 to University College London, 4 to London School of Economics, and 22 medics who went to Hong Kong University and the Chinese University of Hong Kong. That's our Hong Kong students who come to, and they have to get absolutely extraordinary grades to get those places at medical school, and which they do every year. They're getting 5 or sometimes even 6 A stars at A-level. Quite extraordinary. So if we look at the kinds of subjects that people are studying, well, this year has been full of medics, I have to say. 50 students went on to medicine. It is the most competitive, the most difficult course to get in the UK. And if any of your sons or daughters are thinking about medicine, this is absolutely the college to come to. Their medical preparation is absolutely outstanding. It is unbelievable. But economics, finance management, engineering and architecture, maths, computer science, they're all very, very popular courses that we're doing that kind of, to prepare people to go to those very, very top universities all around the world. So interesting, really, when you look at it. So at this January, we're starting a new 18-month course, an 18-month A-level. So it's a fast track A-level. So, it's another option. It's a slightly cheaper option because people don't only have to pay for 2 terms in the first year of accommodation and tuition instead of 3 terms, for instance. And it's having exactly the same amounts of teaching weeks a year as the 2-year course, but we're actually going on at the end of the year by 2 weeks to make sure we get enough teaching hours in. And we're also taking out things like revision weeks or anything that we can, if you like, to kind of get way through it. It just gives you an idea about the kinds of things that you can do. So if you look at really why it is that Cardiff gets these incredible grades and gets these kids onto very top places, well, obviously, in terms of academic, we only have really top academic teachers who have at least 15 years worth of experience. So they're very, very experienced. They could have been examiners, they could have been heads of department. They often write papers to the exam boards. They're very experienced members of staff who give the students one-to-one every day, and there's even scheduled one-to-one time. Now, of course, again, There's a wide range of extracurricular, sport, music, art, drama, a bit like I was talking about with St Andrews, exactly the same with Cardiff. Huge amounts of debating that goes on, Duke of Edinburgh schemes, Model United Nations, NASA Space Settlement Design Competition, all those things, happen. And there's a big also kind of cultural and social program of international days and celebrations of Christmas, Chinese New Year, Halloween, Africa Day, whatever it is that our students are wanting to celebrate. We have big talent shows, we have big sports days. So it's a really vibrant, exciting community. What the school does very differently to any of the other schools I've certainly worked in has been the top three bubbles: the supercurricular program, the university preparation program, and the careers skills program. And I'm going to give you some examples of that, for instance. So if you look at a supercurricular program, for instance, the kinds of things they do at Cardiff are international work experience. So they've been to places like Sri Lanka, Nepal, India, Malaysia, Tanzania, Europe. They've been to lots of places around the world to give medics amazing experience, give finance people amazing experiences, basically giving them the edge on students who haven't got this. There's lots of work observation that goes on in the UK. We work very closely with our Duke's Education partner Investin, who are great at organising work experience. Our Cambridge campus, which I'm going to talk about more on, is organising an amazing programme called the Cambridge Edge, which really is designed to give people the edge. And it's full of kind of, I'll talk about it more in a minute, but it's quite incredible. We take our students off timetable both in October and February half term, and we organise enrichment weeks where we have 90 different speakers from industry, lots of different places. You've got some examples here: Airbus Engineering, Renishaw Engineering, Onshape, Womble Dickinson Law. There was a keeper and equestrian for vets. We went to Silverstone to see Formula One, clinical days. Lots of different people will come in and talk to the students to really show them that the world is their oyster, that they can go on, don't kind of, stop themselves. There's a lot out there for them to do. So the students themselves also will actually organise careers-based societies. Now, we as staff obviously support them, but the whole point is we want them to be able to show their leadership skills, their team working skills. So there's a big healthcare society, an engineering society, a finance and business society, architecture, law, all of these things. And again, whether they're into chemistry Olympiads, essay writing competitions, mathematical challenges, whatever it is, lots of competitions, academic competitions, which are going to help people, show the passion that they have for the subject they want to study going on. We psychometric test everybody. We take people on lots of trips. So at our Cambridge campus, just to kind of give you some more filling in, the Cambridge Edge programme has been extraordinary, really. And it includes things like Cambridge University lectures, talks by leading experts, work experience with top employers, a bespoke Cambridge University alumni mentoring programme, trips to world-class scientific and engineering sites, visits to universities visiting us. I'm just going to give you an example when you look at it. Remember, this is an A-level school, okay? And the kind of lectures that our students went to this year at really, really top universities, you don't get this in a normal school. So, it really is extraordinary, I think, in terms of widening horizons. But things like, can you blow up the sun? What numbers tell us about epidemiology? Cancer, immortality and Christology, economics to predict COVID cases. These are world-leading lectures. 2 of these were given by Nobel Prize winners. And our students, aged 16, 17 years of age, are being exposed to this level of academia. It really gives them the edge. It's absolutely unbelievably good, which is amazing. Sorry. And then, for instance, I'm just going to give you some examples of work experience that I just pulled off as well. They went to Cambridge University Teaching Hospitals. They had a speech and language therapy work observation. The UK Atomic Energy Authority, amazing. Judge Business School, Centre of the Cell. All the computer people went off to ARM Computing. Google, Apple, they're all there. Addenbrooke's Hospital, Imperial College, Healthcare Trust, Cambridge Science Centre, the Medic, huge amounts of amazing work experience, which again, when you're applying to university, and you look at the kind of student CVs that there are from somewhere like Cardiff Sixth Form College, they absolutely stand out in these competitive courses at these very top universities. I mean, this year I had one student that got into both Yale and Cambridge, both universities. I mean, that's extraordinary. And we know how to do it. Of course, it's a two-way process. Of course, we need to work together, but it really is absolutely outstanding. University preparation is the second element that I think Cardiff does extraordinarily well. And of course, it's completely one-to-one. And the kinds of things they do, for instance, is admissions test preparation. So to go to top universities, A levels are not enough. You have to do kind of UCAT preparation for medics, or STEP maths for the engineers, or LNAT for the lawyers, that kind of stuff. So we have to coach our students in those things because, you know, all our students want to go to top universities. They're all very ambitious. If they want to go to Oxford and Cambridge, they want to do medicine, law, or go to the US, they have specialist help with all of that. For instance, we bring in our alumni, and we have probably 40 students at the moment at somewhere like Cambridge University. You know, they come and they really help the students. So, you know, really one-to-one program that happens for about 18 months. And if there's gaps, we identify them. We look at pre-university courses. We look at TED Talks for them to take part in. We look at things like research programs that they could get involved in. I mean, this year, the extended project qualifications at our Cambridge campus were absolutely outstanding. Ibrahim, for instance, who was from Lagos, he designed a levitating train to solve Lagos's transport problems. I had a girl called Fernanda from Angola. She designed an algae fuel cell that will power a mobile phone. There was an Italian boy called Cesare who built a nuclear fuser reactor. These kids are 16, 17 years of age. Absolutely outstanding. Anyway, you can see why the universities want them, don't you? Anyway, really exciting news for our Cardiff campus. There's a new £90 million build currently happening, actually, due to open next September. So the students going to Cardiff campus will be in absolute luxury. There's a fantastic that building there that you've got there on the left, which is a 17-story single ensuite and double ensuite for GCSE. Boarding accommodation with full basketball court downstairs, gardens, you know, gym, medical centre, fantastic. And then the academic building, which is on the right for you, we've basically taken over two beautiful heritage buildings, built a whole area in between to modernise. So it's a combination of the old and the new. It has a big theatre, kind of, you know, lecture theatre, big canteen, or, you know, fantastic labs, all being completely purpose-built for students. And it's in a very gorgeous part of the world called Cardiff Bay, which, as you can see, the middle of it there, not taken on a particularly beautiful day, but I promise you it is really, really stunning area of kind of restaurants and shops, and it's where the Welsh Assembly is, it's where the Millennium Theatre, the main opera house is, and a concert hall and a theatre. It's a big tourist area, people love going. It's a very, very nice part of the play of Cardiff. So it's a really, you know, it's going to be absolutely lovely for the new students. And at Cardiff, of course, we go both GCSEs and A levels. Just gives you an idea about the kinds of rooms that people want. For instance, that the white room there at the top is actually in our Cambridge campus. That's every student in Cambridge has a single ensuite bedroom, every single one. Ideas of common rooms. It just gives you an idea of it. Lots of pictures, particularly of people doing extracurricular activities. That's a Glee production, a theatre production that happened of it looks like that was Grease with the Pink Ladies. Big sports day, as I was saying before, Duke of Edinburgh scheme, art clubs, music clubs, everything that you want, really, students can do. And just to tell you a little bit about the two different cities, one of the things that I just want to, Nigerian parents, quite naturally and understandably, having spent the last 20 years actually coming to Nigeria at least twice a year, safety and security are key things that quite naturally people are worried about. Both Cardiff and Cambridge are incredibly safe cities. They're both student cities. They're both quite young. So we take the security of our students extremely seriously, can I just say. But they're very nice cities, I think, as interim You know, they're great places to come and do your A levels or your foundation, where they're very secure. So, you know, Cardiff, it's a small capital. It's in Wales. It's got lovely heritage buildings like kind of castles and beautiful kind of, you know, old buildings. It has kind of very nice dynamic shopping centre. It has, you know, international sport, international kind of theatre and concerts. It's a really lovely part of the world, actually, and it's only about 2 hours 15 minutes from London, so it's a very accessible. And then Cambridge, of course, is a very different city. So Cambridge is a sorry, just bear with me, it's coming. Sorry. Cambridge is a medieval city. It is 50 minutes north of London. It's known for obviously the 31 Cambridge University colleges that are there. It has the beautiful River Cam. You see people punting down the river. You see lots of people cycling. It's very flat. It's very easy to walk around. Again, very easy to get to. So nice to have the choice. The differences between them. The Cambridge campus is only A levels. It's a smaller satellite campus. It is only STEM subjects. So biology, chemistry, physics, maths, further maths, psychology, economics, computer science. So if your son or daughter is one of those kinds of students and wants to focus, Cambridge is absolutely ideal. Everything they do in Cambridge is geared towards STEM subjects, so people who want to do economics or engineering or whatever, medicine, whatever. The Cardiff campus is much bigger. It does GCSEs and A levels. It does all subjects, arts, humanities, languages, everything that you want to do. So that just gives you an idea about the two campuses and really what are the differences between them. So the application process for 2026. Again, like St Andrews, you can apply completely online. So you go to the website and again, you press the apply now button, for instance, it's very easy. And again, if you can send your latest school report, passport and birth certificate, again, to Tosin or to me, that will be great. And then you pay a £300 registration fee. And then Tosin kindly will invigilate exams at her offices, for instance, or Jessica or Benaya, just depending. And you take for A levels the 4 subjects that you would like to study at A levels. So it could be biology, chemistry, physics, maths. It could be history, English literature, art. Actually, you do differently. Art, you submit artwork, but for all of the other subjects, apart from computer science, which we don't test for because we can teach you how to do it if you've got maths and physics. So basically, you just take entrance exams in the 4 subjects. The exams are then marked, offers are sent out, and to accept the offer, when it comes back, they're actually emailed to both parents, and both parents must sign the acceptance online. Again, it's part of our safeguarding, our child protection. We must make sure that both parents are happy that their very precious young people, their children, are coming to our care. And you pay the deposit, which is £9,500, and your place is confirmed. And I don't think I've got on a slide on it, but fees for Cardiff Sixth Form College, all in, because they put all their boarding and their tuition fees in, are £72,000 a year. So I'm just going to stop sharing a second and see if we've got some questions, Tosin. I hope that's not been a lot of information for everybody. Please don't hesitate. I've just been visiting. I've been in Abuja for the last. I'm in Abuja now, actually. I'm going to Lagos tomorrow morning. So very happy to speak to as many people as possible. Be very happy to answer any of your questions really about going to the UK. I mean, one of the things visiting the schools in Abuja over the last week has made me realise that actually there's a lot of help really that we need to give people in terms of advising about going to university, the steps that need to be taken to access the top universities. Tosin, you can come in here. I don't know if you feel exactly the same, but when you're talking to parents, I think there's a big gap of understanding what happens to go into the UK or the US. And the US, to be fair, is being a bit unfriendly towards Nigeria at the moment. So I wouldn't go to the US. Stay with the UK. We love you.
We love you as well. All right, that's good. Thank you very much for the presentation. We have a couple of questions, some in the chat box and some has been sent to me directly as well. So before we dive into the question and answer session, just want to go on a short break, let people process all of the information and then send in their questions as well. So we are just going to go on a very short break. So when we come back, we're going to treat the questions.
Hello guys, I want to use this opportunity to say thank you to Jeston Education for helping me throughout my visa process to study in the United Kingdom. They helped me get admission into the university. They also helped me with my visa process. Thank you so much, Jeston Education. You are the best. Hello guys.
Hello, my name is Amina and I'm currently a student of Anglia Ruskin University, the London campus. I'm studying MSc in Accounting and Financial Management, and during the course of my application I used the service of Jeston Education, and they were really helpful right from helping me to choose my school to my course of study, to try and to help me get my CAS, my visa application, everything. They were very detailed. They were very detailed in the formation, and all I had to do was just go through my details and make sure that they correspond. Especially during my CAS, getting my CAS. It was really a tough process because I was already reaching the deadline. They were, helping me to make sure that I get my CAS early. So I would like to recommend Jeston Education to you also. Thank you.
POV.
Number one favourite thing is just being by the sea. I think we've already been swimming about 4 times in the first 2 weeks, so...
I mean, my number one favourite thing has to be how friendly everybody is. It's just such a fun spirit all around.
Quad. Maybe the botanical garden. Just love all the cats.
Already been swimming. Number one favourite thing is just being by the sea. I think we've already been swimming about 4 times in the first 2 weeks, so...
I mean, my number one favourite thing has to be how friendly everybody is. It's just such a fun spirit all around.
I also just love all the cats. That's sort of like a strange one, but this town just has an abundance of cats everywhere.
Yeah. Lunch from Combini with friends in St. Mary's Quad.
Maybe the botanical garden. It's really nice.
Oh yeah. All the architecture too.
Although I love the beaches, I'd say my number one favourite thing would be going to Spoiled for a coffee after class with all my mates.
So we love the arts in St. Andrews and all the very creative people who are here. And we also love St. Mary's Quad.
St. Mary's Quad in the sun. And then also the fact that you could just keep on walking. Like you walk off East Sands and just like keep walking and like get to Crail, or just like... Yeah, you could just walk and walk and walk and walk and you'll end up wherever and just take the bus back.
It's easy. Number one favourite thing is walking along the West Sands. Whenever you need a break from anything, especially in winter when the light is just absolutely stunning.
I just like how many societies we have, because it's a great way to like meet your friends but also like follow your interests and find like-minded people.
I love all the crazy traditions in St. Andrews, like raisin and music. They're a bit strange, but they're really fun once you get into them.
Number one is definitely the people, easily, hands down. The professors, the students, the community here is just unparalleled.
The creative people and the community is very strong, and yeah, people do really cool things, and it's really easy to do so because it's so small.
There's such a sense of community here. It's such a small little town, so you'll just be walking in the streets and you'll always run into someone you know. Like, that's just such a precious thing, I think, about St. Andrews.
Just meeting a whole bunch of people and all the different cultures and how they're all so interwoven together and kind of building a connection. Everybody here is just so friendly.
The feeling of togetherness, how ready people are to embrace who you are.
I think the vibe of the town, the atmosphere, that's my favourite. It's so friendly here.
Hey, the people are very nice. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Benaya. So now we are back to the meeting. You heard from the students of St. Andrew's College, and they were saying all sorts of amazing things about the college, how their experiences have been and all, which is so amazing. You also heard from Just Education ambassadors in the UK. We helped some for their bachelor's, for their postgraduate studies as well, MSc, PhD as well. And we would help you with everything from the admission application, study visa, getting your cars. If you have interviews, we're going to help you prep for those interviews for both admission and study visa. We would be guiding you every step of the way up until you settle into the UK. And even if you need post-study support, we are also going to be able to provide such support for you. So let's just go straight into the question and answer. Henrietta, you didn't give us the deadlines for the two colleges.
Well, it's a kind of an ongoing deadline. Most people would apply, most people are applying now, actually, for 2026, October, November. And then a second tranche of people tend to apply February, March. But if you're looking for a scholarship, I think the best thing you want to do is probably apply before Christmas, because there's only a certain pot of scholarship money. And once it's gone, it's gone. And I think in the chat, people were saying, is there a full scholarship? Absolutely not. No, I mean, that's probably the quickest thing. No, you won't get a full scholarship. The scholarships are normally off the tuition fees, excuse me. So as I said, for St. Andrews, and then tuition fees are separate to the accommodation. It's exactly the same at university. Excuse me. So in terms of St. Andrews, for A-levels, you can get up to 35%. They are merit-based scholarships. For Cardiff Sixth Form College, it is up to 50%, but you'd have to be quite clever to get the 50%. Most people, I would guess, give you an idea, would get 20 or 30% off the tuition element, not off the boarding.
All right, thank you so much. So someone asked the question here on the consent for both parents that you mentioned. So she's asking, what if the student is an orphan or the parents are separated? Who then gives consent?
That's a very good point. So it depends. So if someone is an orphan, it would obviously be the guardians that would give consent, for instance, whoever is their legal guardians. If parents are divorced, it depends on who has, if you have sole custody of the child, basically. So it really depends on people's circumstances. So obviously, sometimes people are divorced and both parents are still involved. Sometimes people are divorced and only one parent is involved. So it really depends on your own personal situation.
All right, thank you. So we have quite a number of questions on the scholarship, and I'm sure they've been able to get your response concerning the scholarships. So someone is asking of nursing. So do you want to speak about the foundation and the progression for someone interested in nursing program?
Yes, I really recommend, if you want to do nursing, you do a science foundation. So it's a 1-year course or a 6-month course. We are desperate for nurses in the UK. We would be delighted if you would like to come and study nursing. In fact, 2 of my daughter's friends actually have ended up going to do nursing, and they've had a fantastic time. It's a real community. So yes, you only need to do 1 year, and I would suggest doing a science foundation at St. Andrews.
Thank you. What about the age requirement for Cardiff Sixth Form?
I mean, generally, it depends on which program you're coming for. If you're coming for a 2-year GCSE program, most people come at 14. If you're coming for a 1-year GCSE, people come at 15 or at 16, actually. And A-levels tend to be generally about 16 or 17, occasionally. So basically, you can go up a year or down a year. So sometimes people are 15 as well, but most people, I would say, are 16 doing A-levels.
Okay, all right, thank you. So the custodian support for undergraduate students, the school have options for students that that can fend for themselves yet below 18. So what's the support that the school has for these students?
Well, every student has a house parent and a personal tutor, really. And the house parent is in charge of looking after them from the boarding perspective, making sure people are happy, settled, confident, okay, have got friends. Really, if you like, a little bit like a surrogate parent, making sure that everything's kind of going, that they're going to lessons, that they've done their homework, that they're motivated, picking up people if they're feeling a bit down, a bit homesick, that's their kind of role as a house parent. For personal tutors, they're much more about looking after the academic and the university preparation. So making sure that academically people are on track, and liaising with parents if there's any concerns or any worries. I mean, obviously we work mostly with the students to try and pick them up first, really. But if there's anything we would definitely get in touch with parents, for instance. But no, the pastoral care and support is outstanding, really. And parents, of course, can have. We'll have, basically both the boarding parents and the personal tutors as their contacts, really. So if they've got any concerns or any worries, then, email people, they will get back to you, no problem at all.
All right, thank you very much, Henrietta. So she said she wants to go for a law program. So what foundation or A level can he or she go for?
Well, law again is as an academic subject, so you have got two options with law. You can do a law foundation, which they do a very good one at St Andrews. I would probably, if you've got a choice, I would recommend you doing A levels. Law is quite competitive. It's very academic. In terms of subjects, it's been really interesting when we've been talking to the universities about studying law. But you can do a foundation. You can go into law and a foundation if that is your route, definitely. But I think what was interesting when we were talking to the universities about the kinds of subjects that they think are really helpful when you want to study law, and the feedback was the two subjects are humanity, so obviously being able to write, being able to have good kind of verbal and written skills is really important in law. So whether it's history, government and politics, English literature, whatever, I think a subject like that is really helpful. And the other one, interestingly, that people thought was extremely helpful, and it's maths. And because a lot of law, and often enough, I married Tosin to a lawyer, so I see this a lot. A lot of law is process. It's about kind of starting, making sure you actually understand the background to it. What is precedent, if you like. A lot of it is process. So maths can be quite a helpful subject if you want to study law in the future.
All right, thank you very much, Henrietta. Thank you. That was quite insightful. Just trying to see if I missed any questions.
The last one, I think, was someone saying if you can start lectures and pay later. You can't work until you actually start university. When you're at university in the UK, you can do 20 hours of working, and you also get a post-study work, 2-year post-study work visa after you've been. But obviously, under the age of 18, you can't work.
All right, thank you.
Pleasure.
So what's the deposit payment for Cardiff sixth form?
The deposit for Cardiff is £9,500, and that's refundable after you finish your course at the end of it, as long as you finish your course, obviously, which I expect you will. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Henrietta. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for the presentation as well. I just want to thank everyone today for coming to the webinar. The parents, the children, I'm sure you feel very confident on your decision now to study in the UK. Applications are ongoing for the next intake. So we would help you put in your application. We would help you with your study visas as well. We would give you 100% support until you get to the UK. So you are sure in safe hands. And if you want a one-on-one consultation, you can always reach out to us. We have our contact details in the chat box. And if you're already in contact with a member of the team, please reach out to them and we would start your process as soon as possible. So thank you very much, Henrietta. Thank you, everyone. Do enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.